Hello everybody, welcome to another episode. If you missed it yesterday, I posted a video of a lecture I was at with Steve from Fruitscapes. He did a lecture at the local garden club here and it was amazing about avocados. At the end of there was a Q&A. For several different reasons, I decided to do the Q&A in a separate video, and that's what today's video is. Excellent, excellent. Now, I don't remember if it was in the Q&A or here, but he was talking about the super hot avocado being super productive, and he said it's unevenly ripens for him in Pine Island, but here he hasn't heard that. And I want to say that I did have a super Haas avocado tree here in West Palm Beach, Lake Worth, and it never ripened evenly. The tree was super productive, but they didn't ripen evenly. However, I don't know if I was checking them in the right season. I might have been checking them too early. So they might do well here. Tastes great. I wish I would have known that, but put your comments below to help others if they're deciding what tree to get. And here I am in front of my Maria Black tree here in West Palm Beach. This is an amazing avocado. Does really well, and it's a September avocado here. Now, yesterday I was talking to somebody who's about an hour north from here, and they said it's more of an October, November avocado. So the location you're at does matter. And Steve was talking about South Florida. I had some questions. Some other people had some questions. You might have to listen for our questions because the volume was lower. But I was glad I was at this event and got to record this. If you missed the lecture, I'm going to put a link below to that video. Really wonderful. The Q&A was just as wonderful. Here it goes now. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
On this list, it says oily and watery, and there's numbers.
Okay. All right. So down at the bottom, I have a scale here, 1 to 5. 1 meaning very watery, 5 meaning being very oily. Now this is all personal opinion. I haven't tested these scientifically, but when I taste them, this is pretty much the oil that I sense in there. So anything that's labeled a 5 is probably as oily as you can get. And then anything that's labeled a 1, stay away from.
Do you know how they test oiliness?
I do not. I know there is a meter that to test them, but I don't have access to that. I don't have that.
You mentioned when you get an avocado, it's not going to taste any different if you get it sooner or later. The taste stays the same. It doesn't change. But, for example, an early Donny doesn't taste good, but if you keep it on a tree longer, some people say...
Yeah, maybe I misstated there.
You'd say that if it's up to 30% or so, then it doesn't go.
Yeah. So the longer the avocado stays on the tree, the more oil content gets in there up to a certain point. So, yeah, right. A Donny that's picked a month early, and that's usually what you get from Homestead when you buy avocados in the summertime. They'll pick them 2 or 3 months early, and they taste like garbage. But if you find the one vendor who holds the fruit on the tree as long as they should, it tastes good.
Is this list your prime or?
That's in their prime. That's in their prime. That's so.
For the Donny.
Okay, so the month on here is the month that they're in their prime. And then the month that they're in their prime, that's the oil content on there. But yeah, I mean, even a Donny that's held on there, as long as it should be, it doesn't have near the oil content as some of these winter avocados when they should be picked. Yes, sir.
Quick question. You was talking earlier about when they said why some avocados don't fruit every year, but if you got this variety of fruit every year, but I heard you saying that it stresses like when it's with so much fruit on it. So if you are a regular backyard grower, if you was to remove some of those,
to thin it out.
yes,
and
the next year was kind of a consistent year.
It does. It helps it out if you thin it out. But the biggest problem is the time that you leave it on there. If you leave the fruit on there past like January or February, even if there's 1 or 2 fruit on the tree, it still signals to the tree that there's fruit on there and it skips the flowering. So you still need to harvest that fruit by January. But yeah, by reducing the amount of fruit that's on the tree, relieves the stress. So if you've got a tree that's this big and it try to set 40 fruit, if you take half that fruit off or maybe down to 10, yeah, you're going to relieve the stress and more than likely you'll get some flowers for the next year. So.
Do you ship trees? Do you ship trees?
No, I don't. No. There's a lot of people over here that buy from me as well, so you can probably find them locally. Unless you want to make the 3-hour drive over to me, it's quite a ways. But I know a guy who does it frequently.
I do all this.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on top working an avocado tree and having more than one variety?
It's doable, and a lot of people do it. And they're doing that in Homestead with 30, 40-year-old trees. They're still cutting a lot of them back and reworking them because that root system that they're sitting on is invaluable. I mean, it's immense. And if you top work a stump that's 1.5 feet wide, which is easily done, you'll get fruit within a year off of that thing because it grows 6 or 7 feet into a big bush again within a year. So there's no problem with it. It's difficult sometimes because a lot of times there's so much energy in there and so much liquid. When you try to do the graft, it's very liquidy and it's very hard to keep the graft lined up long enough to hold it. So it's tricky.
Would it cause a varietal confusion? Like I have a Brogdon that I've had for 25 years, and if I add something that's something different than that,
it won't hurt it. I have an avocado with 3 varieties on there. It had 5, and then the more vigorous ones always kill off the weaker ones. So if one's much stronger than the other, obviously it's going to kill off the weaker ones. So you want to try to match it up with same vigor. There's one that I like a lot called Wirtz. It's a very slow-growing avocado. If I have anything else on that tree besides a Wirtz, it kills the Wirtz because the Wirtz is so slow. So try to match up with their vigor.
You get the wilt disease out there?
Wilt disease, wilt disease is always an issue. There's diseases for everything in the world. I mean, people have diseases. If we were worried about disease, would we stop making children? I mean, we still make babies. We might as well just keep growing avocados. In Homestead, there are people with 100-acre groves. Every day they get a dead tree, but they've got 50,000 trees in there. What do? They rip it out, put another one in its spot, and they keep on going. There's always going to be something that attacks your tree. Laurel wilt is not anything to really be concerned about. It doesn't do mass scale devastation. It does knock out a tree here and there. And just, you got to live with it. I mean, there's always something that's going to hit any fruit tree. And this is a disease that can hit your fruit tree. In fact, I went through Belle Glade today and I saw about a 40-foot tall avocado tree that was just hit with it. Completely brown leaves. It dies within just a couple days. And then around it were several other avocado trees that were perfectly healthy. It's like lightning. It hits one, then a couple miles away or 100 miles away, it'll hit another one. So I don't think it's a disease that we should be concerned about. I mean, we keep an eye on, but it's nothing that spreads like wildfire.
I have seen where one tree got it and like
Okay.
20 trees going straight out.
And what happens is underground, if in the grove, that can happen because what happens is when a tree naturally self-graft, they'll root graft underground. If the tree or the grove is old enough, 50, 60-year-old grove, a lot of times those roots have grown together and grafted themselves together. And when one tree is hit, every tree that's connected to that one tree will die.
That happened with Tom from Guac Farm.
Yeah, Yeah, it'll take them out like that. But if the trees are separated, their roots aren't not grafted together, there's no connection.
And by
That'll be fine.
separated, more than 25 feet.
Yeah, if the tree's 100 years old, 25 feet, I'm sure those roots are connected. But in our lifetime, yeah, 25 feet should be fine. Should be fine. Yes, sir.
Yeah, about if you have a tree that's, say the water table is like 10 feet below it, does the surface have to be still?
It should be moist, but it doesn't have, that 10 feet is perfect. That's what avocado's like, 100 feet if you can get it. I don't think you're going to find that around here. But I've got avocados that are growing 6 to 8 inches above flood, and they're doing fine. They've been like that for 20 years. But
You need of water, does it?
well, their root system will go down. To get down 20 feet, it would probably take them 20 years to hit that water table on their own, so you'll probably have to supplemental irrigate them for at least 10 to 15 years. But yeah, eventually they'll get down to the water table and have water on their own. Down in Homestead, they irrigate their trees when they're younger, and in the dry season they'll irrigate them just to keep them healthy and to keep that fruit on there, because if they dry out, the first thing that happens is the fruit fall off. But I mean, their water table is 4 or 6 feet stable underground all year. My water table fluctuates from 6 inches to 8 feet throughout the year, and it's stressful on avocados when the water table comes up and down like that, because then they try to follow the water table down and then they get burned when the water table comes up. But the more stable your water table is, the deeper your water table is, the more success you'll have with avocados.
You have saltwater intrusion, don't you?
And we have saltwater intrusion as well. And avocados will take that a little bit. It's one of the few, they actually take more salt than mangoes do, surprisingly. So,
Your diamond head avocado, what growing characteristics does it have? And can it be grown in a pot? You know,
I don't recommend growing any avocado in a pot, because their root, when they start going around in a circle.
I'm talking in an area of your pot where that doesn't happen.
Well, no, the only one that I would grow in a pot would be Wirtz, Day, maybe Maria Black. Utuado, too. But Maria Black also seems to be pretty dwarf, too. But no, Diamond Head is a very vigorous one. It's probably up there with a Brogdon in vigor. So when I'm done here, we've got some samples up here of the Diamond Head. Please come up here and take a sample, and let me know. I'll stand up here and I'll ask a show of hands for who likes it and who doesn't.
A quick question on the Marcus Pumpkin, the black and the and the green one. They're very similar taste profile.
Yeah, their flavor profile is the same, but the Marcus Pumpkin regular is more. It's a little more watery, but to me it's more palatable than the black. The black one is drier. It's denser. It's more pasty.
You actually like the watery one better.
In those particular two, I think I prefer the watery one over the drier one, just because the consistency is just too dense and too dry.
Okay.
But it's a good flavor. Okay. So I think the regular Marcus Pumpkin is better, but everybody's taste preference is different. And we'll compare after everybody tries the Diamond Head. Yes?
What causes the black vein in avocado?
What causes the black vein?
You know how sometimes?
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I don't know what causes that. Do you?
Sometimes they have it. Sometimes.
I know. I've seen it on some varieties one year, and then the next year it's not there. I've seen it on Haas that I get from the grocery store, and then I'll get another batch that doesn't have it in that. I don't know what causes that. I really don't. I wish I did. And I haven't seen any documentation on that at all. Yes, sir.
If I could only have one avocado in my yard, a small yard, what variety would you recommend?
Oh.
Anything oily or
Day, Maria Black, Super Haas.
All right, everybody, that was Steve at Fruitscapes. And again, if you missed the whole lecture on the avocados, I'll put the link to that below. But I was glad you got to see the Q&A here as well. I told you, a lot of great information. And for some of you, it might have brought up some new questions. And remember, he's in South Florida. I got a lot of comments under the previous video saying if we're in North Florida, what'll grow better there in the colder environments, or Central Florida. I can speak to what I'm growing here in South Florida, and so I really don't know about Central and Northern Florida and also the climates, but Steve does, because a lot of people buy avocados from him and he talks to them, and so does Mike at Trees and More, because he has a nursery that's more north. I know Nick at Nick's Edibles, he's in Orlando, so he might be able to say what grows better in Central Florida or maybe even North Florida. Nick and Nick's Edibles, you can find him on Facebook. So the best thing to do is find a trusted nursery that's as close to where you live as possible, your zone, and talk to them. Now, don't go to the big box store. The big box store will have stuff that doesn't even grow in that area, period, whether if it grows well or not. But if you go to a good nursery, you get to know the person, they're probably the best ones to tell you what grows best. Or if you have a neighbor or somebody with a tree, a particular variety of an avocado, let's say, and it's doing well, ask them what variety it is and learn the history of it. So I find that's a good way to do things. So local nurseries and local growers, that's the best way to know the best about your area. And then you can look at some other bigger nurseries that ship all over and see what they have to say. Thanks you, Steve, for this great Q&A and also for the lecture. Everybody, I'm going to put the link below to Fruitscapes. They got avocados, but they got a bunch of other fruits as well. Fruit trees. Great place. I look forward to getting back there. Until then, everybody, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, because I got so much more that I want to learn with you and teach with you from these videos. And I got a lot of great stuff coming up. So thank you again for being a subscriber. Until then, everybody, have a great day and keep growing.